Alright gang, welcome to another Autodesk Inventor video. What we're going to look at today is a little tool called the circular command, which is a tool that's available up in the ribbon bar there. Now, as always, if you hover over it, it'll give you a little description. Now I'm going to show you how to do this on this component here. So we've got 8 holes going to run the outside of this circular component. So what we're going to do is we're going to create one of those holes and then send those holes equally spaced all around the outside of that. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to come back to a component where I started modeling this. Now you can see I've got one hole on there. Okay, now how I created that hole, which is obviously a topic that's in a different video, but how I created that hole is I actually put a sketch onto that surface. So I'll click on there and edit that sketch. So what I did there is I selected 2D sketch. I popped a center point on there, as you can see it, and then I dimensioned it off that central axis. So to put that on there, yeah, I've got my sketch. I drop my center point on and then I dimension it. So I'm going to go back out of that. Now, as you put your hole in there, you're using the center point you put in to insert that hole. So that's something I'll pick up with you in a different video. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take that hole and equally space around the outside of that axis. Now this circular command can be used for any shape components. It's easier to do on a round component, but you can do it on a square one, which I'll go to in a little bit later on. So to send that, run that surface, I'm going to click on the circular command and I'm going to choose, mouse is playing up a little bit, I'm going to choose that hole there. Okay, so that's the feature that I'm going to do. Alright, and the feature is over here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, now if I've got more than one feature, I can select more than one, but the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the rotation axis. Alright, there's a couple of different ways to do this, but this way I'm going to show you the simplest way. So to choose the rotation axis, so basically, what do you want to send that feature around? I'm going to choose the outside of that circle. Okay, so it automatically populates how many holes, as you can see in the little command box, how many holes. It's set 6, you can change that, change it to 10, you can see it changing on the screen, change it to 8, and obviously that depends on what job you're doing. But the axis that I'm going to send that around is I've identified that's on the outside there. So you can see it's already putting those in there for me, just to give me a rough idea of what they look like. Now if I didn't want to send them through all the way around, I can choose a different angle. You can see I can have 8 holes on there. I'll swing that around so we can see that. But it makes sense to have those holes equally spaced around, like so. So depending on what job you're doing, that'll allow you to set those. So I'm going to click OK, and then we'll see those features being created. Alright. Now the advantage of using that technique rather than putting 8 separate holes in is if I decide a little bit later that I need to edit that feature, so I want to change that hole. Alright, and I want to make it, say, a 20mm hole. If I change that size and OK that, it automatically updates all those holes for me. Alright, so nice and easy. Little activity there. Now I'm going to show you another example of that using a square component. So I've already, again, I've created a sketch, I've extruded it. It doesn't matter whether it's a hole, well in this case it is a hole, but it's a square hole as opposed to a round one. It doesn't matter what shape you're going to, you can still create that circular rotation regarding that. Now in this case, I don't have a cylindrical surface to rotate that around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the central axis of this plate. So again, up to the top, circular command, click on the feature you want to create that of. I'll zoom in a bit. There you go, mouse is playing up a wee bit. Alright, so again, I've only got one feature, but if I want to select more. But what I'm going to do this time, I'm going to come into this origin in the browser bar. I'm going to find the central axis of that component. So you can switch that on. Oh, sorry about that, I have to go back in there. Alright, so I'm going to choose the rotation axis. So I'm going to choose the Z axis. And don't forget you can switch the visibility of these on, but I'm just going to select that. Alright, so it's slap bang in the centre, and I'll swing that around there. Okay, and again, if I wanted to do 5 of them equally spaced, if I wanted to do 4 equally spaced, it doesn't matter. Whatever you decide to put in there, just relying on what job you're doing. But again, I'll just choose 8 just for argument's sake. And again, I can change the angle there. So I'm going to pop that in and I'm going to say OK. So what I've then got is I've got those features rotated all the way around the outside. Okay, so that may be of use for some jobs that are coming up and have different modules. So there's a couple of different techniques for you to use the circular command there. So once again, thanks for watching, and if in doubt, give me a shout and I'll try and help you as much as I can. All the best. Bye.